when it comes to Asiwaju Tinubu's achievements, his supporters are quick to reference his track record as the governor of Lagos State. And of course, that's one of the offices he has held where he managed a state. But there are also those who think that that achievement might be overstated and that he's probably been arrogated a lot of achievements that had started way before he became governor. But you were an integral part of that administration. Talk to us about the reality of things.
Well, to actually put that issue in proper perspective, you would need to also tell me what you said, or give me an example of such policy or policies that have been arrogated to him, but that was started way before him. Because I don't know of any policy that has been that he has claimed or that we have given credit to him for that was started before him. I don't know of any. So you need to educate me, and then I'll be able to tell you whether that is correct or not. And I will back it up with facts and figures and empirical verification. Because I don't know of any. Again, if you can't come up with one, I will go back to my assertion that the media is always echoing insinuations, rumors, innuendos, without investigating before coming to the public. Now, interviews, ideally, interviews do not replace investigative journalism. I'm a journalist, trained journalist. And I've practiced both in the print, in the electronic, in the public sectors and everything. So I know what I'm talking about. If it is meet and proper for the media to be bombarded with insinuations, rumors, innuendos, but it is also the owner's responsibility of the media to investigate those things before re-echoing them in the public space. I do not know of any policy that has been arrogated to Asiwaju falsely that was started before him. All the policies that we give him credit for were started by him. And even his successors continue to build on those policies, which is why Lagos today has risen from a 600 million naira IGR, internally generated revenue, per month, to what it is today as arguably the 5th largest economy in Africa. That is indisputable. And I'll tell you why. Because I was there. And I keep saying, I wasn't told, I was part of his team that conceptualized, enunciated, executed, and monitored all of those policies. 600 million was what he inherited as a governor. Before him, the governor of the state, General Buba Marwa, is alive. He is the current chairman of the NDLA, the drug agency. Buba Marwa met the IGR of Lagos at 300 million naira a month. He increased it. And by the time he was leaving, the IGR was at 600. And Asiwaju took over at that 600 point. And he started putting in place mechanisms. The very first thing he did is what is being copied all over the country today. He brought in technology into administration of the state. How? There were loopholes, financial leakages, revenues going into amorphous purses. And he said that was one of the fundamental reasons why the state revenue was that low. So he first had to plug those leakages with technology. He then brought in the Oracle system and introduced that into the payroll of the Lagos State Civil Service structure. Of course, human being, human nature is resistant to change. So the civil servants, the workers, resisted it because they had to do biometrics. And he insisted as the governor that he was not going back. That was the way to go. So at the end of the day, this biometrics was effected. And do you know what? It will shock you that the very first month of implementation of that technological development, 350 million, more than half of the IGR, was saved. What it meant was that 350 million every month was going down into various amorphous purses. That was the first step. The second step was to now, let me also, before I leave that point, because workers had to do personal, individual biometrics, those ghost workers that had been earning before, of course, you know, ghosts couldn't come to do biometrics. So we saw so many names on the salary bill or the wage bill that did not exist at all in reality. We found a Mr. Ekpe. We found a Madam Efficiency. We found Mr. Omoshetan Omolo on the payroll. We found a whole school, a high school, with full complement of staff, from principal to head teachers to non-teaching staff, on the payroll that never existed in reality. And so that started to build up the IGR of the state. The next thing he did, he now introduced a mechanism of catching, without increasing any tax, of catching those who are not in the tax net, broadening the tax net. And that was what brought the now famous Alpha Beta, which those who are envious, who never had the required mental capacity to dream up of such mechanism, very efficient mechanism of increasing revenue generation, started saying, oh, he's owned by Asiwaju, oh, he's using his own private company to collect revenue for the state. Look, the medium is the message. Go and look at those who are saying so. Everywhere they have worked, what have been their own landmark achievements and improvements on the societies that they have governed, because not some of them have governed before, but we'll get to all of that. So he brought that innovation, and then he started blazing trail. And you know what trailblazing means. It means initiating. Initiating. When you initiate something, it means it had never existed before. First of all, he started what has now become fashionable in Nigeria. Everybody, even local government chairmen, when they are elected now, they start a transition program. They form a transition council. Governors, even the presidency, and all of that. It was Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that blazed that trail in Nigeria. He was the first to start it. And why did he start it? He said he wanted to bring in professionals. And those professionals, many of them are still alive today in various walks of life. He brought in experts from the health sector, from the economic sector, from the private sector, from the legal, the judiciary, from the media. I was there as a member representing the media in that transition council. And so this transition council, in effect, now constituted 23 transition subcommittees spanning all sectors of administration, health, education, physical infrastructure,
if I may quickly jump
engineering,
in because of
finance,
time,
all the
Mr. Lake,
gamut of administration. And all of this produced
if you allow me
10-point
jump in, we have
program,
just a
document,
few minutes
which
left.
is still the philosophical background to the development trajectory of Lagos till today.